Well, the world wondered, didn't it, when that American drone was shot down, how President Trump would respond. And of course, as you said, he cancelled that planned military retaliation at the very last minute last week and has now reverted to effectively more of the same. More of the sanctions that the White House likes to call maximum pressure, that have squeezed the Iranian economy to the brink and clobbered its oil exports. In other words, more of what many people think provoked Iran to lash out in the first place. Now, the president's been speaking today. He said that all this is about encouraging Iran into talks and abandoning its nuclear ambitions. These sanctions, though, seem to be having the opposite effect on both fronts. And it's left people wondering, what's his way out here? What is President Trump's way out? What is the strategic objective? What constitutes a win, basically, if both Iran and the US continue to dig in? Apparently intent on avoiding war, the US Secretary of State took in 2 countries already in a proxy conflict with Iran in Yemen. Mike Pompeo says he's coalition building in the United Arab Emirates and here in Saudi Arabia. "You're a dear friend," King Salman told him, as they scrabble for a coherent response to their common foe. Earlier, he called for dialogue with Iran.
We're prepared to negotiate with no preconditions. They know precisely how to find us. And I am confident that at the very moment they're ready to truly engage with us, we'll be able to begin these conversations. I'm looking forward to that day. The president has said repeatedly we want a brighter future for the people of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Those negotiations are the gateway. That's how we'll ultimately achieve this.
But Iran's terms for talks are the lifting of sanctions. And President Trump just sat in the Oval Office and slapped on a whole lot more.
Sanctions imposed through the executive order will deny the Supreme Leader and the Supreme Leader's office and those closely affiliated with him and the office access to key financial resources and support. We will continue to increase pressure on Tehran until the regime abandons its dangerous activities and its aspirations, including the pursuit of nuclear weapons.
If the aim is to bring Iran to the table, it is failing. Cries of death to America rang out from Iran's parliament yesterday. A foreign ministry spokesman wondered if there was any sanction America had not already tried and what they'd gained. What they have produced is a crisis of his own making, say President Trump's critics. Iran still denies the recent attacks on tankers in waters crucial for shipping much of the world's oil. Now the US wants others to step in, with calls for an international force to give vessels safe passage. It's an acknowledgement that hostilities are likely only to increase. The commander of Iran's navy has already said the US drone it downed last week may not be the last. Well, not for the first time, Donald Trump appears to be straddling contradictory positions. As with North Korea, he likes to talk tough. He talks, in fact, of obliterating Iran if necessary. But at the same time, he seems desperate to avoid any sort of military conflict, those bad overseas wars that he talked about repeatedly during his election campaign. The problem, say his critics, is that doubling down on sanctions, as he has done today, leads him exactly down that path.